Welcome to the deep dive. Today, have you ever really thought about how animals in the hottest places on Earth cope? Think camels under that scorching sun or deer out in a bright meadow. You might think, "Oh, sunscreen," but it's way more fascinating than that.
It really is. Like, imagine a camel's fleece keeping its skin up to 30 degrees Celsius cooler than the surface of its coat.
30 degrees, that's incredible.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface.
So, this deep dive, we're looking into sun-induced skin issues in two, well, quite different groups. Camels, the Camelidae family, and deer, the Cervidae.
And we're basing this on a pretty detailed veterinary report and some related bits of research.
Right, and our mission really is to unpack these amazing natural defenses they have. But maybe even more crucial is understanding why something that just looks like a simple sunburn on these animals, why it's often a big clue pointing to something deeper going on health-wise.
Yeah, we'll walk you through, the anatomy, the physiology, even their behaviors and some of the biochemical tricks they use to handle the sun. And importantly, what happens when those defenses fail or get compromised.
Okay, let's dive in.
So let's start with this core idea from the report. Sunburn in camels and deer. It's usually not just a sunburn like we'd get.
Right, it's more like a clinical sign, a red flag.
Precisely. It often points towards other underlying problems. It could be this complex thing called photosensitization.
Photosensitization. Okay, what's that exactly? Is it different from just, getting burned by the sun?
Very different, yeah. It's where certain chemicals inside the animal's body react with sunlight, causing exaggerated skin damage. It's not just the UV rays directly damaging the skin tissue like in a simple solar dermatitis.
Ah, I see. So understanding their normal protection is kind of the baseline then.
Absolutely fundamental.
Yeah.
You have to know how they normally cope with the sun, their natural photoprotection, to even recognize when something's wrong.
Because the problems, the skin conditions, they often only happen when those natural defenses break down.
Exactly. The failure of those systems is almost always sort of a prerequisite for these sun-induced skin diseases or dermatoses. Their everyday defenses are the first line.
Okay, so speaking of defenses, let's talk about camels. Masters of the desert sun, right? Their adaptations seem incredible, starting with the fleece.
Oh, absolutely. The camel's coat is, well, it's critical. Not just for keeping cool or warm, but UV protection, too. Think of it like a dynamic shield.
Dynamic how?
Well, during the hottest part of the day, with peak sun, that fleece creates this huge thermal gradient. We mentioned it earlier, up to 30 degrees C difference between the very outer surface of the wool and the skin underneath.
30 degrees! It's just hard to wrap your head around. How does it do that?
It's really clever. Couple of things working together. First, the light color reflects a lot of the sunlight right away.
Okay, makes sense.
Then the dense fibers trap a thick layer of air. And air is a really poor conductor of heat. So it minimizes heat getting through by both conduction, direct transfer, and convection. Heat moving with air currents. It basically insulates the camel.
And that insulation, it doesn't just keep them cool, it helps with water too, right?
Hugely important, yes. Because they're so well insulated, they don't need to rely as much on evaporative cooling sweating to stay cool, which means they conserve precious water.
Ah, okay. And the report mentioned something about shorn camels.
Yeah, exactly. Studies show that if you shear a camel, its sweating rate and how much water it needs to drink go up markedly. It just highlights how vital that fleece is, not just for temperature, but for their whole water balance in the desert.
Wow. And is it just the insulation or does the fleece block UV rays too?
It does both. It provides direct UV protection as well, especially the longer, thicker fibers you see on their back, like on the neck and the hump, the areas that get the most direct sun. It's a physical barrier.
A built-in sun shield. But it's not just the fleece, is it? Their skin itself is different.
Oh, yeah. The skin is exceptionally thick. That adds another layer of insulation and just, well, physical toughness.
And the sweating mechanism is unique too, I read. Something about not wetting the fleece.
That's one of those fascinating bits. They have these deep, coiled sweat glands. They allow sweat to evaporate right at the skin surface, underneath the fleece.
So the cooling happens, but the outer coat stays dry.
Exactly. Which is critical because a wet fleece would lose its insulating power. It would actually conduct heat towards the camel. So this keeps their main insulation intact while still allowing for some evaporative cooling right where it's needed.
Ingenious. And I saw a note about special cells in the skin. Osmotic cells.
Specialized cells that can store water, contributing to their cooling ability and overall resilience. It's like little water reserves right in the skin.
And then there's the whole body shape. The hump is the obvious thing. Why concentrate fat there instead of, say, an even layer all over? Wouldn't that insulate better?
You'd think so, maybe, but it's actually a clever trade-off. By putting most of the fat in the hump, the rest of the body surface has less insulation right under the skin, which
What?
means his heat can radiate away from the main body more easily. It allows for more efficient heat dissipation from a larger surface area.
Okay, that makes sense. Get rid of heat faster from the body, store the insulation somewhere out of the way.
Kind of, yeah. And don't forget the pads, those leathery patches on their chest, knees, feet.
Right, they protect from hot sand when they lie down.
They do, but they also lift the camel's main body off the ground slightly, allowing air to circulate underneath. Another subtle way to help stay cool.
It's layers upon layers of adaptation. Anatomy, physiology. What about behavior? Do they just stand there and take it?
No, they're smart about it too, their main strategy. Find shade if it's available. Seems obvious. But studies actually link shade access to better welfare. They rest more, ruminate more.
And if there's no shade?
Then they do this clever thing where they orient their body parallel to the sun's rays.
Oh, to minimize the surface area getting direct sun.
Exactly that. Reduce the target size, essentially.
I do think they've thought of everything. And then there was that surprising bit about biochemical defenses, something about the hump fat itself.
Yeah, this is really interesting emerging research. Fat rendered from the hump, which is full of specific fatty acids like omega-3s, omega-6s, omega-9s, plus vitamin E.
Uh-huh.
Well, in lab studies using mouse skin models, this fat actually showed protective effects against damage from UVA radiation. It even seemed to help mitigate damage when applied after exposure.
Wow, so the fat itself might have sun protective qualities.
Potentially, yeah. And camel milk, too. It's known to be packed with antioxidants, vitamin C and E, selenium, zinc, all things that help protect cells from the kind of oxidative stress UV rays cause.
So it's this whole package deal: coat, skin, body shape, behavior, maybe even biochemistry.
Truly a comprehensive, system-wide adaptation, from the big picture down to the molecular level.
Okay, incredible. Now, let's shift gears. From the desert masters to animals maybe we see a bit more often, depending on where you live. Deer, cervids, they have their own strategies, right? Especially with their coats changing.
Oh, absolutely. Deer have a really dramatic seasonal wardrobe change.
Yeah.
Their summer coat is, well, pretty different, usually reddish-brown, short, quite thin and wiry, almost no underfur.
So better for warmer weather, less insulating.
Exactly. And the lighter color helps reflect some solar energy, too. Keeps them a bit cooler.
But then winter comes.
And it's a total transformation. They grow this incredible winter coat, long, thick guard hairs. And these hairs are hollow, plus a really dense, woolly underfur.
Hollow hairs, like little tubes.
Yeah, and that's key. The trapped air inside those hollow hairs, plus the air trapped in the dense underfur, makes it an amazing insulator. It reduces heat loss so effectively. I mean, you've probably heard that snow can pile up on a deer's back without melting.
I have heard that. It sounds almost unbelievable, but it makes sense with that kind of insulation.
It really works. Plus, they have natural oils, sebum, that makes the coat water repellent. And the darker winter color, usually grayish or brown, probably helps absorb a bit of solar heat on cold, sunny days. Passive warming.
So, great for winter, but does that thick coat also block UV in the summer, or is the summer coat enough?
The dense hair coat, both summer and winter really, provides a pretty good physical barrier against UV. The report mentions studies on cattle hair showing a UPF, that's ultraviolet protection factor, like in sunscreen,
Right, UPF.
ranging from maybe 5 up to 17, depending on how long the hair is and the angle of the sun. While we don't have specific numbers for deer from these sources, the principle is the same. It offers real, substantial protection.
Okay, so the coat is key. But then there was this other part about deer that was, well, it blew my mind a little. Their vision, seeing UV light.
Ah, yes. This is fascinating and has huge implications for survival. Deer, like quite a few prey animals, their eyes are sensitive to the ultraviolet spectrum, light wavelengths we can't see.
And why is that important? How does seeing UV help them?
Well, think about predators. The fur of many predators, like wolves or coyotes, apparently absorbs UV light, making them stand out against the background, which reflects UV.
So predators might look like dark shapes in a UV bright world to a deer.
Something like that, yeah. And it's not just predators. Artificial brighteners in human clothes, they often reflect UV strongly. So hunters in regular camo might actually stand out visually to a deer in the UV spectrum.
Wow, okay. And the deer's own coat, does that relate to UV?
It does. The UV reflective properties of their own coat are actually part of their camouflage. It helps them blend into the ambient UV light in their environment, like forests and fields, which naturally reflect UV. Makes them harder to spot.
So their coat isn't just for warmth or sunblock, it's visual camouflage in a way we don't even perceive.
Exactly. It's this whole visual ecology layer we're mostly blind to.
Which leads to a really important point you mentioned earlier, the link between skin health and, well, not getting eaten.
Precisely. If a deer develops a skin condition that causes significant hair loss, maybe it's severe photosensitization, or a bad case of mange, or ringworm,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just uncomfortable or physiologically stressful for the deer, it fundamentally messes up their camouflage. By changing how their coat reflects or absorbs UV light, it makes them stick out like a sore thumb to predators. Their UV signature is compromised.
So a skin problem could literally be a death sentence because it makes them more visible.
It absolutely could. It directly impacts their ability to evade predators. Skin health equals survival in a very direct way here.
Which brings us right back to where we started. When these amazing defenses, the coat, the behavior, maybe even the UV camouflage, when they fail, that's when the sunburn shows up, but it signals something more is wrong.
Exactly. That visible skin lesion, the apparent sunburn, is often the tip of the iceberg. The report mentions various underlying issues that can either look like sun damage or actually make the animal more susceptible to sun damage.
Like what kinds of things?
Oh, it could be infectious diseases, parasitic infestations like mange, even nutritional deficiencies causing skin problems. These can all compromise the skin's integrity or the hair coat, paving the way for sun-induced injury or photosensitization.
So you really need to look deeper than just the skin.
Absolutely. It underscores why a vet or a wildlife biologist needs a nuanced diagnostic approach. You can't just say, oh, sunburn and move on. You have to ask why this animal is showing these signs now. What system failed?
Okay, so understanding all this complexity, the adaptations, the potential failures, what does it mean in practice for managing these animals?
Well, for the professionals, the vets, wildlife managers, animal scientists, the report offers, evidence-based ways to think about diagnosis and care, building on these insights.
And for us listening, what are the takeaways for general care if an animal is affected?
The basics are still crucial. If an animal is suffering from something like this, supportive care is key. Make sure they have adequate hydration, plenty of water, and good nutrition to help them heal. And, of course, minimize any further UV exposure while they recover. Shade is essential.
Right. Support their natural systems while they get back on track.
Pretty much. Help them get over the hump when their own defenses are overwhelmed.
So wrapping this up, it's just amazing, really, the sheer variety and ingenuity of adaptations in camels and deer just to deal with sunlight.
It truly is. From the camel's insulating fleece and unique skin, their smart behaviors, to the deer's seasonal coats and that incredible UV vision tied to survival, it's an intricate dance.
And understanding all that, it really makes you appreciate animal health on a whole different level, doesn't it? Realizing that something as seemingly simple as a sunburn can be a window into these much deeper biological processes, or a sign that their survival toolkit is compromised.
It adds so much depth to how we see these animals and their connection to the environment.
Yeah. Maybe next time you see an animal out in the sun, basking or foraging, you'll think about all those invisible systems working nonstop to keep it safe. And maybe wonder, what happens when those systems get thrown off balance? It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What other hidden biological superpowers are out there, quietly shaping life?
Definitely food for thought. The natural world is full of these kinds of hidden complexities.